come back no more, no
No
more,
more,
no
no
more, no more. Yeah.
road, Jack. Don't
Don't
you
come
come
back
back.
no more.
Now, was that a fake clip or not? I don't know. That I didn't see this video of the band playing that.
Was there a band playing that?
There was apparently like a video that people were asking whether it was a fake video or not of a band playing it
I saw
close to his departure today.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw a TikTok of
Well, isn't that a video?
it was a TikTok or an Instagram video of 3 young girls doing some awesome dancing to that song. That's how it got.
Oh, there was another apparently. I don't know if it was a fake thing, but where there was a military band playing it.
But there was this was a big day today for a friend of yours.
My buddy Joe, I'm really proud of him. He made me proud. My buddy Joe. Yeah, I'm the fact that I got to meet him and work with him on that little video it was so cool then, and he was vice president then.
Well, and you're gonna have to work with him again because you tattooed 45 on his arm and this, and you're gonna have to tattoo 46.
I'm gonna have to make that 5 into a 6.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to do something funny and kind of punk rock with that 45, which would be fine with me. Whatever he wants to do, I'm his tattoo artist. Whatever he wants.
I gotta tell you, it's I've as have you. One of the compensations for growing up with the father that we grew up with,
meaning a celebrity father.
Yeah.
Perfectly nice man, a wonderful man.
Yeah, fantastic guy. One of the conversations, we've met a lot of famous people.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I think I have never been more impressed with somebody having met somebody than I am with you that you met and worked with.
Let me tell you, I finally feel good about myself. That's how big this is.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Finally. Yeah, crazy job.
Yeah.
And on top of which I also got to meet Nancy Pelosi, which is amazing as well.
And she actually told a pretty good joke in that video.
She did. She was, I will completely admit freely, she was not as fun to work with as Joe.
No, but I got to tell you something. When did you watch when the moment where she had to sign they call it an engrossment ceremony, when she had to sign the letters of impeachment last week?
And she held up the big thing just like Trump used to do and be like, "Hey, it's a big piece of paper, the thing that I signed." Yeah.
But when all the news folks were like saying, she's going to be here and other people will be here. There are going to be some speeches and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. There were no speeches. She was, I gained even more respect for her watching that ceremony because she hated having to do that. There was no victory. She wasn't taking a victory lap. She wasn't happy that it had come to this.
It doesn't seem so. Look, my reservations about her have nothing to do with her political standing. She's doing a great job. I like her tremendously. I just mean as an actor, as a fellow castmate, I was like, work with me. Well, we're in a scene together. Look what Joe's doing. See, he's relating to me. I don't know. I'm like the Shabbos Goy over here. You're treating me like nothing.
You mean she wasn't behaving? Okay, I got it. Yeah.
She just wasn't interested. She was a little enamored of Julia Louis-Dreyfus and was admittedly having fun hanging out with her new friend. And I felt a little left out.
Maybe she thought you were a real, just a real tattoo guy.
Maybe. The Secret Service certainly thought so. They didn't like that at all. But yeah, thank you for that was an amazing gig and it's just a great guy to have met.
crazy,
Love
crazy
them.
insane that you got to do that. So, any big news in your life this week? Anything you need to tell us about aside from the free world being maybe sick?
Aside from America waking up into
Yeah,
America again,
yeah. Because I have some big news.
oh, well, I don't. So please, please.
Um, uh, Mom did a little shop this week and came back with, as she is wont to do, some ice cream for her boy because, and what she came back with when she brought the ice cream was something called, and I have to make it clear, we don't have sponsors on this show. We don't get any money
No,
from
not
anybody.
that we've said no to sponsors. We've just said no, we haven't had any.
We don't have sponsors. So I'm not getting paid to say this, but Neapolitan ice cream,
Sure.
the 3 flavors, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry.
I've had Neapolitan ice cream. Yes.
Are you a big fan?
No.
Me neither. No. In fact, somebody brought that into the house. I'd kind of spit at it.
Well, that's extreme. But I wouldn't. It's never one I would buy.
I wouldn't. I'd say get something else.
Yeah.
So mom came back with some ice cream, and I took a very brief, quick look at the quart container, and it had 3 colors going across, and I was like, it's Neapolitan. She got Neapolitan. How could you? Then I took a closer look, and it's not Neapolitan ice cream. It's something from Turkey Hill called Triopolitan ice cream. It's 3 different flavors.
Okay.
It's a mint chocolate chip,
Fine with that.
vanilla chocolate ribbon,
Okay.
and insanely dark chocolate.
I can work with that.
Those are the 3 flavors. Oh,
I can totally work with that.
She goes to the market next time and tries to come back into the house with something other than Turkey Hill Triopolitan.
Then you're going to be upset.
I'm going to lock her out.
Listen, she has good taste in ice cream. Mom has good taste in ice cream. She's going to bring home something that you'll like. I think that you have to relax about the ice cream. That she's got it under control.
Yeah,
I do have a question.
Okay.
Why don't you go to the store to get ice cream? You're not under quarantine anymore, are you?
No, I go to the store a lot. I don't get the ice cream because I've put on like the COVID. You've heard of COVID-19? I've put on the COVID-20. Well, not quite, but
you gotta watch the caloric intake. I understand.
The caloric intake?
The caloric intake.
Oh, you said the caloric intake.
No.
No. Okay.
Although, well, I'm pleased that these days, Biden's inauguration, Kamala Harris's inauguration. Also, let's just say for a second how I just haven't recovered. It's just such an amazingly beautiful day that of first time things that you just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Living long enough it's the one thing about getting older, I could say right now, is that you do live long enough to see some amazingly cool things once in a while.
Yes. On the other hand, sometimes there are things you can't unsee.
Like the last 4 years.
The last 4 years. And also, I will never, ever again be able to hear the song I Did It My Way without seeing that 747 lift off from Joint Base Andrews.
Yeah. I'm not even on Twitter and it seems quieter. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, it is. It is quieter. And that's our show for tonight, folks.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Congratulations to us. That's all you need.
Yeah. But we do. There's some comments coming in already. Oh,
It's mom defending herself about her ice cream choices.
Joe Narciso saying, "Hello, boys."
Hey, Joe, what's up?
Joe Narciso is saying, "Hello, boys," and Brian Jesuit is saying, "Dang it, no Adam Arkin again."
Making people feel good tonight,
Yeah,
Brian.
he's a big
Glad
fan. He's a
you're
big fan of
happy.
Adams. He's a big fan of Adams, as are we.
Who
As
isn't?
are we. And I think that's the only reason he tunes in. Is in the hopes of getting Adam on the show,
Well,
but
I think
that's 'cause he doesn't know us yet.
of course not. Why would he want to listen to us? For the record, if we will try to know in advance when Adam's schedule frees up to be on the show, because we talked to him about it last week, and he was saying he was sorry that he's been missing out on it because he's been busy and he's been working on his big TV show in LA. So if we get wind that he's going to be on, or he calls, he lets us know that even that day we'll post something and let people know that he'll be showing up.
Yeah. So,
but I'd give us a try. I'd give just me and Matthew a try.
Yeah, because we
try.
have our own little distinct.
I wasn't in Halloween H2O, but I did work with Joe Biden.
Yeah, you did. So we have a movie to talk about tonight, sort of on topic.
Which was your pick, like with a bullet. You were that's obviously the wrong term to use, but you were like, this was immediately the pick that you wanted.
Yeah,
you had
a president and bullet in the
same.
I'm
I'm just excited. Things just come out, but like honestly, you knew right away. This is what you wanted.
Yes, and I'm just gonna embarrass and humiliate myself.
Well, you're just gonna try to get Aaron Sorkin to give you a job in something, right? Tonight, we're gonna watch you talk basically to Aaron Sorkin tonight. I have a feeling.
Yes, Aaron.
Yes, Mom, you do know your ice cream.
Yeah.
Aaron, it's true.
And well, a funny story. The closest I ever came to being on an Aaron Sorkin show is when I went to college with Brad Whitford, and I was doing a show in New York that was a big hit in New York, and Brad came to see it, and I think it was like the second or third year of The West Wing, and The West Wing was a huge hit, and Bradley comes to see this play that I'm doing in New York, and he comes backstage afterwards and he says, "This show is great. You're great in this. You're great in this. You should come down and you should come down and be on West Wing."
Bradley didn't know better than to say that to you.
Bradley,
you're in show business.
Listen. Oh, okay.
Oh, why didn't I think of this?
Yeah, I'll hop the Amtrak. I'll be there Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love when people say that.
The closest I can.
And especially when other actors are like, you should.
They're in the show.
Yeah. You're like, well, it's funny. I know somebody on that show who might be able to call the producer.
Yeah. But I am a lover of all things Sorkin. And I'm also, and I'll take some shots from you for this. I like rom-coms, I liked Notting Hill. Hate to say it.
You don't hate to say it. You enjoyed saying it, clearly.
Notting Hill. That's a movie, Anthony.
Nodding off. Oh, sorry.
And there's also something that I can't explain about myself. But sometimes when writing, there's writing of a certain type that makes me cry, even when it's not a sad scene or anything. It can be a happy scene. It's just good rhythms, tight writing, tropes, archetypes.
I feel that way about Slayer records. So
okay, so there you go.
You can cry at very unusual things. It's normal.
So, but I actually had I got really emotional watching this film, and I think it's because it was at this particular time. I watched it before today. I watched it several days ago, in that time when there was still, it's such a fairy tale. It's so aspirational. It's so about it's such an idealized vision of that world, that I got really kind of wrought up watching it and wishing for some.
It was like Avatar for you. Some people saw Avatar. When it was over, they got very, very sad because they couldn't live on planet Avatar.
Exactly.
And you feel that way about this movie.
And it's kind of a Capra movie, this movie.
Well, yeah, this is where we want to talk today. I want to talk about these things with you today because it is kind of like a Capra movie, but also not in very, very very, very important ways to me. And I have a couple of bones to pick, but overall, I had a great time. I mean, I saw this movie in the theater too. I think I saw it when it came out, I guess, and was not. I mean, I had seen a few Good Men and knew about Sorkin, but I wasn't following him, and so I didn't have any stake in the game. And as you said, I'm not like rom-coms aren't my go-to movie, but it's not true that I don't like them. There are some that I love, and I think particularly the older ones that, for instance, Frank Capra actually made, I love, because Capra and Howard Hawks and that crew back in the 30s where it kind of created the genre almost. I mean, it's a little.
Before you go too far down that road, Frank Capra made this movie too.
Yeah, he was the assistant director.
Yeah, Frank Capra
the third.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
When I was 11 years old, I spent the night at Frank Capra Jr.'s house a few times.
Really?
Yeah, because we were living in New York, and I screen tested. They flew me out to LA to screen test for the Tom Sawyer movie. And he was working on it as a producer or in some capacity, and was sort of my guardian for the 2 or 3 nights that I was in LA screen testing.
Okay.
And in the screen test, got to kiss Jodie Foster.
Are you serious?
She had already been cast to play Becky Thatcher, I believe.
Oh my God. Wow. I never knew that story. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
how old were you?
I think 11 or 12.
It could have been your first kiss almost, maybe?
It's my first screen kiss.
Oh, okay. I know you don't really want to talk about the intimate details of your life.
The intimate details of a screen test kiss at the age of 11 or 12.
That's super cool. Well, I was, I'm a huge Capra nut. His movies are great. And you can clearly see the lineage to it. You can clearly see it. You saw this when it came out?
Yes.
And you were a big fan of it then. You've seen it since?
I haven't seen it since. I enjoyed it then, but it was, it was 25 years ago. I didn't remember a lot of it, but I did do a reading. There's a fellow who's doing, and God, this is a horrible, horrible thing I'm doing now, but I'm forgetting the fellow's name. But he's still, right now, during the pandemic, he's doing a thing called Zooming the Movies. And he asked me a few months ago to do where they just read screenplays
that's brilliant.
Zoom reading of screenplays.
That's a great idea. Hey, let's put a link to it in the show notes or something. So yeah,
when it's over. And they did a reading of The American President, in which I played the Richard Dreyfuss role. So there. But you should work your magic at this point, probably, and talk about the
say what it is. Just mention what the movie is.
Mention what the movie is, and maybe talk about it.
Well, we're talking about The American President from 1995, directed by Rob Reiner, written by Aaron Sorkin, starring a huge cast: Michael Douglas as the President of the United States of America, Annette Bening as a lobbyist for the Green Movement, who becomes engaged, romantically entangled with the president. Martin Sheen, Michael J. Fox, Anna Deavere Smith, Samantha Mathis, David Paymer, Richard Dreyfuss. It's a great cast. In a lot of it, I wasn't, more than not a rom-com fan, I'm not a political procedural fan.
Right.
I just don't. And you're okay. You went dark there for a second. It's like the lights went out.
I was downloading a photograph that I should have downloaded before the.
For the podcast listeners, Matthew's screen went totally dark, and it was kind of freaky for a minute.
It frightened you.
So I wasn't into the West Wing show. It's a great show. I just don't, again, TV, I don't care.
Love that stuff. I love that political stuff.
Yeah, it's not my thing. And I guess where this would have totally captured my heart.
Yeah.
If it had been a little bit more, what's the word for it? A little less careful with its idealism about the office of president and the whole Oval Office gestalt of all of it. Like, I feel like what Frank Capra actually would have done with a movie like this is had a couple of shots at that system that would have been a little bit more, a little edgier, a little bit more screwball commentary about the bureaucracy in general and the silliness of having a title like that in the first place. You kind of have to really feel a lot for that office when you watch this movie. And for the guy, I mean, they make a really good case of Michael Douglas being, a president who's trying to be a good man. And you feel like he is. You really feel that from him. But I have to say, I don't see it in the script, and I didn't find out why she should like him for him really at all. So I thought that was an interesting thing about the movie. It works because he seems like it's Michael Douglas and he's great. Like who doesn't like Michael Douglas? Like he's, unless it's Fatal Attraction. So they get away with it, but I don't feel they give you that moment that would have been in a Frank Capra movie where he turns to her and he's like, I don't want to be president anymore. I just want to be with you. And maybe that's what I was missing from it, but that's a different kind of movie. Honestly, this is, and I'm not disparaging it for taking that stuff so seriously. I'm just saying that I don't usually. So it was,
what I found really interesting watching it this time is when the center of the conflict erupts, and it's voiced on the one side by Michael J. Fox as his congressional policy advisor, and it comes down to him, and it's a great piece of dialogue where Michael J. Fox says to Michael Douglas, Michael Douglas is not fighting back against Richard Dreyfuss, and he's plummeting in the polls. And Michael J. Fox finally says, "You're plummeting in the polls because you are because you're being silent." And he's the only one talking, so of course they're going to start following him. And Michael J. Fox says they want leadership. They're so thirsty for it, they'll crawl through the desert toward a mirage. And when they discover there's no water, they'll drink the sand, which is one view of the general public, that they're dying for leadership. And Michael Douglas's or President Andrew Shepard's response to that, this guy who's supposed to be the leader of the people and our hero in the movie, his response to that is, people don't drink the sand because they're thirsty. They drink the sand because they don't know the difference. And so on the one hand, this movie it makes the movie more complicated. I don't know if this is intentional, but it's more complicated because on the one hand, Sorkin has this tremendous respect for the American system of government, where he idolizes it and he idealizes it. But that's a really bleak view of the public that the American government is supposed to serve. I mean, he's basically saying people are idiots.
Yeah.
And it was really shocking to see that now in light of what's been going on the past 4 years, of this idea that, a lot of people don't seem to know the difference between a mirage and the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie was also kind of prescient in some other ways, where Richard Dreyfuss's his motto is what was it? It's almost like a "Make America Great Again" motto. And I'm trying to remember what it was.
Dreyfuss was great in it. He was one of the parts that really seemed authentic. He seemed so in it to me. But I can't help you. I don't know which line you're talking about.
Well, talk about something interesting, and I'll come up with the line.
Well, I mean, I'll. Do you see what I'm? Do you feel like? I'm. That's the question. Won't help you at all because you're looking for something.
No, I think looking at the same time.
I think that they tried to have their cake and eat it too a little bit with this.
The pride is back. That was
pride, his catchphrase.
That was his catchphrase.
Okay. Yeah. Well, nothing really changes much, does it? I mean, it's really just kind of, what we've seen the last 4 years is stuff we've seen before, just on steroids and degree. I mean, one of the things that was weird about watching this movie for me now, after the last 2 weeks have unfolded, and granted, I was calmed down a bit because we watched it last night, and I've kids A to Z. Our standards are a tad high. He's leader for William average answer. Yes.
What else do you need to be? Joe Narciso played Michael J. Fox, apparently.
I just feel like I just feel like they tried to have their cake and eat it too a little bit. I prefer this kind of thing with a little bit more sense of the absurd, because there's a lot about government, the people that run government, and the job of politics and all of it that is honorable, I guess, and there's the traditions that are beautiful and everything. But lately, let's say since Watergate, I've been more focused on the absurd qualities of it all. I mean, it's necessary. It's great. There's been great people. There's been some terrible people, but overall, a lot of this is a lot of pageantry and stuff, and gets to feel a little bit like, well, I kind of like poking fun at some of that stuff a little bit.
Right.
And this movie takes that really seriously. Like Aaron Sorkin obviously does. He like you say, he's in love with this, like romantically, deeply in love with these traditions. And I respect that. I really do. In a lot of ways, I feel like I've missed out not being a student really of anything other than movies, and not paying attention in school, and not really knowing how things work like most people of my generation, I guess. Like I miss out on some of that, on some of why, and I can get a little caught up in the schmaltziness too. Like I can, but there's this cognitive dissonance going on when I've just seen the Senate in another context a couple of weeks ago, and now I see it in this movie, and it really is an amazing and weird film to watch right now in many respects. And I did get a little choked up at some of it, and some of it was just like, wow, how far we are away from even anyone making this kind of movie again. Like this movie can never get made again.
Okay, but let me throw something at you though, because I would argue that in a certain way, that movie got made again today, and we watched it, and we completely bought into it. Like that's what Joe and Kamala.
Okay, yeah, but there's a difference between saying goodbye to Hitler and having a giant schmaltz party about the president. That's two different things. So a lot of people were crying today for a lot of reasons, and I was moved deeply by the fact that we have a vice president who is representing a real America right now.
Yes.
I'm very moved by that. I'm moved that we have a woman in that position also, and I'm really, really moved that I saw a helicopter fly away. And I'm a big Joe Biden fan, so it was a great day. But I don't have, I don't know. I just it's like I keep the game firmly in my mind, man. You can't drop the ball. There's no room for schmaltz. There's no room for it. We can't get lost in this kind of like, romanticization of it. We got work to do. And I looked out today and I saw a bunch of people that I liked. Like it looked like a group of people that I could have a sandwich with.
Right. Okay.
And so I dug that.
All right. Okay. Let's step away from content.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I do have to say you are hating on me so much less than I expected you to.
Oh, really? You thought I was going to be like
I thought we were going to break up.
No, not at all. There's, I have a bad rap as far as like romantic comedies go.
Yeah.
My problem with rom-coms has more to do than with the fact that they're usually made within a studio system that doesn't really make very interesting movies. They can be good scripts, they can be well acted, but most of them are made like as movies. They're just banal in terms of how they're made. They're not very well made.
All right,
and that's my beef.
We step away from content for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And just go to just straight craft. There's some stuff that Sorkin does in this movie that I think is masterful.
Okay. This is not his original script. You do know that, right?
No, I didn't know that.
He's got credit. That doesn't mean doesn't mean it was his idea or that he did it. They talked, there were interviews with Reiner that were talking about once he got hired, his revisions were great.
Right.
And they were working then, but he didn't.
That's where I'm going with this is he handles exposition better, I think, than almost anybody around. The setup of this movie of all of the conflicts is so fast and so tight, and all of a sudden who all of the threads that are going to converge in this romance with the environmental bill, the gun bill, the election coming up,
the villain setting up what Dreyfuss's thing is. Yeah.
And, the GDC lobbying group, the poll data is at 63%. We're going to send that bill to Congress asking for a 10% reduction rather than 20% reduction. The gun control bill or crime bill, 18 votes in 72 days, the lonely widower exposition. In like 4 minutes, you get set up for everything.
Yeah.
Then it can just play out. And I think
I'll go you one better, actually. It's not only because you're admiring it as somebody who already understands what he's talking about.
Right.
For me, who barely understands like the machinations of politics in like a business, like if I were to sit in one of those meetings, I wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about. Sorkin explains it to me so that not only like do I get the vibe of what's happening, but I get specifics and details that I don't know how he explains it to a dummy like me. I don't know how, because that's not stuff I usually track in movies.
And he doesn't spell it out.
He doesn't, but it's like a magic act. He somehow does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't see what he's doing to make me understand it so easily, but he is doing some amazing, and it's beyond just craft of writing. It's about knowing what I don't know and knowing exactly all I need to know just to follow this plot.
Right.
Without lying about it. Because it also feels like it's pretty accurate. I don't know, but it seems like it's probably compressed a lot. I'm sure I'm sure all these things take a lot more time.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it wasn't inaccurate as far as how these processes get handled.
Another thing that's great about
or did in 95, sorry.
There's a scene that is not in this movie that when they didn't include it, I just wanted to cheer. And it's the scene where she gets invited to the state dinner for their first date, right? The setup is that he's going to take his cousin to the state dinner, and he's just met this lobbyist played by Annette Bening, and there's this buzz, and his cousin comes down with a stomach flu or something like that and can't come to the state dinner, and he's going to go stag, and he decides to invite this woman who he just met, Annette Bening, and they do not have the scene where she's trying to figure out what to wear.
It's true, although I bet they shot it and cut it out.
They may have. I just thought, because you are so expecting that scene.
Yeah, it's true. He avoids a lot of cliches. They do some really smart, clever things with getting the plot moving. And they avoid a lot. They avoid other pitfalls too. They avoided the what I thought was going to definitely come was the midterm moment in the rom-com where they break up before the ultimate breakup at the end. There's usually a time where they're like, there's some stupid misunderstanding. They just kind of develop a nice relationship, and it continues until something legitimate happens that she gets upset about. And I like the way they handled that. I thought, overall that gave her a lot more character, I guess, than you were seeing maybe in parts for women in 95, where you clearly see, and this is this is Annette Bening, because she's really good in the movie too, is her, when she gets hurt and she gets pissed off at him, she's clearly also like, you screwed me in business. Like, she's angry for a lot of reasons, but she doesn't just play it like you abused, like, my boyfriend was mean to me.
No,
she is angry at him as a professional.
Yeah.
More than anything else. And I thought that was great. I thought that was really cool to see that. It's in 95 particularly. There you were mentioning dialogue, where I was really delighted. Have you ever seen Joe Narciso is asking, have we ever seen Sorkinisms on YouTube? I have not. But I will be looking for that.
I'm going to look for that also. And Jonah Weston says that he's not only good at exposition, he does make it.
Well, he does. Frankly, I could care less about exposition, because I don't. Narrative to me is as boring as I couldn't care less. But so I'm glad he makes expositions clear. That's a talent, but he's also got some stuff here that's funnier than any Neil Simon's writing. I mean, I want to praise him for interchanges like this, when the scene where Annette Bening comes over and they're actually going to spend the night together for the first time.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of nervous, or he's nervous. And he says, he's kind of hemming and hawing a little bit. He's having a drink. And he says, any expectation that you may have, given the fact that I'm, and she says, the most powerful man in the world. And he says, exactly. Thank you. And it's important to remember that that's the political distinction that comes with the office. If Eisenhower were here instead of me, he'd be dead by now.
That shows up in
the she's just wearing his shirt and nothing else. And that's some brilliant comedy writing. That's some really, really funny writing that. Probably Rob Reiner had some hand in maybe tooling some of that stuff, because he's not a funny guy either.
Not an unfunny person.
No.
I was in a poker game with him one night.
With Rob Reiner?
I ended up at a poker game. I was visiting Adam.
Get out of here. What are you doing, buddy? You can't be on the show. He's not a union cat. I don't know what he's doing.
It was a poker game. It was Adam, Bruno Kirby, Rob Reiner, Michael McKean.
Oh my God.
And I think it was Michael McKean. Chris Guest.
Get out. Did you say one thing all night?
A word.
I wouldn't have opened my freaking mouth.
I just sat there and lost money.
Yeah.
I didn't speak.
It's good, because nothing good happens if you open your mouth in that company, man. You will feel so stupid so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in rooms similar to that, and it sounds more fun than it actually is.
It's not fun at all.
It's terrifying.
There's also some either really good or really manipulative visual storytelling in this movie. The first time, go ahead.
I'll go manipulative, but please.
The first time they are in the Oval Office together, having their meet cute argument, they are shot from far away, with the two of them on either side of either side of the Oval Office and the Resolute desk between them. Full body shot, far away. And the office of the President of the United States stands between them. And then the next time you see them in the Oval Office, it's close up and they're in front of it. You don't see the desk. They're just face to face. Just little hints like that.
Well, okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna. Who are we gonna celebrate when we say this, though? Who do you think did that?
The DP or Rob?
Okay, I'm gonna say the DP, because I think Rob Reiner's great, but I don't know. I've never seen his paintings, and I don't know how he actually is with things like that. So let's say it's John Seal, the guy that shot Mad Max and like Dead Calm and one of the great DP. He did a lovely job. It's a really high key, beautiful lighting, very Hollywood studio, but it works because it's in the Oval Office, and there is some beautiful stuff like that.
Talk on the colonnade between Douglas and Sheen.
The which?
The walk and talk on the colonnade where they have that walk at night.
Yeah.
That's beautifully shot and beautifully blocked.
It is. You just want to be Martin Sheen in this movie. You want to be that man, don't you? You get kind of misty about that relationship. I bet you anything. You got a little teary in the room with the pool plant.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, it's good stuff. I like Martin Sheen in a lot.
Martin Sheen since I was 8 years old.
You used to have his hair like down.
Yeah.
We got to get a picture of this. Is true. Your hair was.
I don't anymore.
You used to, like I said, you used to have it down.
Yeah. Long ago and far away.
So what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite scene, or was that walk?
I have a favorite scene and a favorite actor in this movie.
Tell me.
See if you can guess. Tiny little scene, tiny little actor. Not tiny actor, but tiny little role.
I have okay. Is it the same one? Is it have to do with the picture I sent you?
No.
Okay. I don't know your favorite scene. It's the scene where she's crying with her girlfriend on the couch. You don't like that scene? What's wrong with that scene?
Oh, I like that scene. No, that's not her girlfriend. That's her sister.
Whatever. Like I said, narrative. Whatever.
That's the fantastic Nina Shamasko.
It is. She was wonderful.
Yeah, she's spectacular. it's Tom Barry as the guard in the guard.
Oh, when he's like, he doesn't know who Frank
Doesn't know
Capra
who
is.
Frank Capra is, and he does. And that's an example of an actor who has maybe 2 lines in a movie, and you're not going to forget him.
Oh, he was great. That was a really great moment. My favorite is an even tinier moment with an actor who has he's given less to do.
Okay, so you want me to show a photograph now?
Yeah, let's show a picture of Bo Billingsley. This is an example of a guy who made Amelia and I laugh so hard without a line. He literally just has one look to Michael Douglas and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't even make a face. And it's such a perfectly tuned moment of knowing exactly what's going on and not going to say anything. It's when she says, we can't see each other anymore. And it's this really personal conversation they're having in the hallway. And he turns to this actor, Bo Billingsley, and says, would you excuse us, sir? he just nods and walks away, and it's just priceless. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He plays this guy, Agent Cooper, and I'm wondering if that was a nod to Twin Peaks also. So I love that.
That's a great moment.
But that scene at the guard station early is really memorable. It's really memorable. Okay, so that's your favorite actor or scene, or do you have another?
I have a few favorite things. Here's another little Sorkin thing that I love. I feel like we're talking about the exposition that he does, that he doesn't talk down to the audience, to his audience. When they're talking about they say they use phrases like BDA without explaining them, battle damage assessment, after the rocket attack in Israel. What else do I love? Favorite lines: "Come friends, let's away" is wonderful. "With all due respect, sir, the American people have a funny way of deciding on their own what is and what is not their business." When the president says, "Let's do one thing at a time," and he says, "We don't have time to do one thing at a time." And I also like when she's gonna walk, when she tells him off, when they first meet, she tells him off and she's walking out of the Oval Office and he says, "You can't do that." And she turns around, she says, "With all due respect, sir, who's going to stop me?" And he says, "Well, if you go through that door, the Secret Service, that's my private door." Yeah, that's to what you were saying with the good writing.
I love the line. It's from the same scene as that earlier quote I had, but it's my favorite scene of Michael Douglas's. When the scene before they sleep together, where he's kind of nervous and drinking and he just he starts to explain my office just completely exploded. He starts to explain his nervousness to her in this kind of formal way, and he says, "My nervousness is this on several different levels," and he starts to kind of triangulate it. It really killed me. I love that. But do you agree that it was maybe missing a little bit of the real him where we got the real her? I feel like I didn't get a lot under the surface of him as this great president. I felt like, other than all the obvious reasons, he's a great guy, he's good looking, he's a dancer, he's president, he's rich. I mean, all these obvious reasons why you'd want to go out with the guy. Something happens with them in what is my favorite scene, I guess, that kind of is that the actors do. But I wanted a little bit more, I guess, from the script. But it's the scene in the China room. I love that scene.
That's a terrific scene.
And it's the closest that it gets to them actually, I feel like, seeing each other completely without the politics or who they are. Like they seem to really kind of meet as boy and girl in that room to me in a way that it was special. And then it turns, because that's when Israel gets there's a strike on Israel, right? In that scene, and then he comes in there and inform him right before they kiss.
Right.
Something, so there's emergencies happen.
And it's so smart too that it's in the China room, because that's what couples do when they're going to get married, is they go pick out their china.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of that imagery is there in that.
Yeah. And there's subtle things about character that come out. You know, one of the saving graces, like Michael Douglas is so charming. He's such a charming guy.
Yeah.
And an easy actor to watch. He's so easy and effortless. That you really just buy what he's selling as this character. You buy him as, you're like, oh, okay, he must be this good guy. Like he's somebody that I want Annette Bening to be with. Like, yeah. But it's not necessarily in the script. And I'm just be curious if that was stuff that was taken out or not addressed or not put in, or maybe you don't even think that I'm making any sense. Like maybe you think it was there and didn't need it.
No, no, I get what you're saying, that there could have been something early on that clued us into him being an extraordinary president.
Well, yeah, or what? Yeah, that. Yeah, he played him so effortlessly as president and so presidential. I felt like for it to be truly Capra, you'd have to see this guy with his fly on. There'd be a little bit more like, you know, I'm not presidential, but I know what's right.
What's missing for you is the scene from It's a Wonderful Life when Donna Reed sees him outside, or when he goes for the walk and she sees him outside the house, and he's saying, I'm just I'm just going for a walk.
Yeah, exactly. That
I don't even want to be here. I don't
exactly what I'm talking about.
From this. He's all good in this.
He's all good and always kind of got the Teflon of like, you know, of that man has bought into the whole thing of it, rather than somebody who's like this stuff is unimportant. Let's run a country.
And I'll completely go with you on that. I'll go with you, in saying that that's why I really enjoy this movie the way I really enjoy a really fantastic candy bar.
Okay, yeah.
It's not this is not gourmet food. I feel like this is really, really well crafted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I say well crafted, I just mean down to things like when the whole debate in the sit room about, are we going to attack? And he finally says, attack. And we cut to another room, and there's thunder outside. There's all these little, just very, and I said manipulative before. I don't know if it's manipulative or if it's just simple filmmaking, but very effective.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I mean, I felt like that was kind of classic Hollywood golden era filmmaking that they were using with those things, and that seemed like well married to the Capra-esque,
and
obvious Capra-esque qualities.
Question for you too. It technically, I feel like the film was so well made, and then there's this one shot that stuck out to me, and I'm wondering if they did it on purpose. When she leaves the White House after their first sort of date, and she's heading home, it's after the state dinner, and the evening gets cut short. Is that the one that gets cut short because of the Israel attack?
I think so.
And she's in the limousine, and with this feeling going on, because she just had a wonderful date with this handsome president of the United States, and it's a really bad green screen of the White House out the window, but bad like old movie bad. and I was watching and I was wondering, did they do that on purpose to make it look like an old romantic movie? Because she's doing it's such a moment for her of it's a real throwback moment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I guess it probably has more to do with them not having the money to actually shoot it on that street at that night, whatever, I would imagine. But
it worked. The other thing it's really fun. You weren't a West Wing watcher.
not a devotee. I'd seen it and enjoyed it, but again, like most TV, I'm not.
This show is such a warm up. This movie is such a warm up for that show.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot about it that feels like episode 1 of
a lot of crossovers. You know, Martin Sheen crosses over, Anna Deavere Smith, Josh Malina, Nina Shamasko, Ron Canada, Tom Barry, the guard. So many people, right? You know, and even you know. God bless her, Anne Haney as Mrs. Chapel didn't play Mrs. Chapel on the show, didn't play the secretary on the show, but it was somebody very much like that.
Right.
It really is just a warm up. Oh, and can we give a shout out to John Mahoney?
Yeah, absolutely. I love John Mahoney so much. I have a feeling that he was in more of it. I think they cut him out of some of this movie because he only has like 1.5 scenes in this cut. I have a feeling he was in more.
The scene where he read the note, the card that came with the
ham.
The ham.
Right.
They cut that out for some reason. You know, there's another thing that I want to talk about that you know, we did this thing where I made that poster for you because we had that list of
the Silverado poster, which is fantastic. Yeah.
There's also going to be a list of things that are in a movie about a president.
There should be, yeah.
Because there's like just obligatory things that are in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, Hail to the Chief, all the portraits of the presidents in the White House, a cute kid, tough generals, a military crisis,
and the president that doesn't know how to move around the White House, like doesn't know where anything is.
Doesn't know where anything is. An establishing shot of the White House. Somebody says we the people. There's something brewing in the Middle East. There's a thoughtful walk on the West Wing colonnade.
Yeah.
There's a salty chief of staff. There's a young whippersnapper assistant for domestic policy.
There are roses.
There are Republicans smoking cigars.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's an ideologue.
What else? And there is a speech where somebody talks about what they were before something.
Yeah.
You remember what you were before this happened? You were great, and now you're nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I think the scene where he breaks up with Martin Sheen as best friends, you know, is in every one of these too. There's always like the guy who was there, who helped make him, who was there from the beginning, who gets tossed aside because.
Well, that's a nice piece of dialogue. Why are you always one step behind me? And Martin Sheen says, because if I wasn't, you'd be the most popular history professor at the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was the actual phone number to the White House.
Yes. That's a very
funny scene.
Funny scene.
That is a funny scene. On the phone with him when she doesn't believe it's the president. Yeah. I kind of feel like, there's a clip from Watch Sorkinisms. There are 3 of them, and you will see what I warm up all the scripts for.
Joe is also pointing out, most powerful man on earth is a political distinction.
I love that line so much.
It's a great one.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to go see like Dave now. Remember that one?
Is that what we should do for next week?
I don't know if I could take it, but I maybe.
Well, we have to do something for next week.
We do. Do we do a trio of president movies
A trio of president movies
in honor of this massive historic election? Do we do a trio of movies about
about
presidents?
presidents. Yeah. So we could do Dave. We could do Air Force One.
Do let's see.
Fail safe.
Yeah. Well, at least we got Dave. I would do Dave.
Dave next week, ladies and gentlemen.
I have a feeling Dave. I seen Dave. I don't remember it, but I think it's my sense is that it's more more broad comedy than this is.
Sure. Yeah. It has to be. There's something we need to talk about. One other thing we need to talk about.
And I know the third film.
What's that?
Escape from New York.
Okay. Is that Snake Plissken?
It is, yes.
Wow, I pulled that out of somewhere. There was a scene in this movie that I completely didn't understand.
Well, how can I help you? I'm sure I didn't understand it.
There was a scene in it where he goes into a room and there's a whole bunch of reporters. And he's answering
it was so weird.
He was answering questions that reporters were asking.
It was like science fiction. What is happening? That's not what we do.
Not in a
no. When that happened, I turned to Amelia. I was like, "You remember those? We're gonna get those again. You're gonna see them."
There was one today.
No.
And it was almost as if it was written by. I swear to God, it was this close to Allison Janney walking into the press room and talking to the reporters. This woman who he has as his press secretary is sharp. She's calling those reporters by name. She's got them laughing with her. They're not eating out of the palm of her hand. And they were taking, she was dodging there were some questions. She basically made it clear she was never going to lie to them. But it didn't mean she was always going to just answer anything that they asked.
Oh, they've never done that. There's no,
she dodged some stuff.
Yeah.
And she said, this is going to be a daily occurrence. And then she said, not on Saturday and Sunday. I'm not a monster, and they laughed. But it was a real, genuine White House press conference by somebody who had a binder this thick in front of her. And when a question was asked, she kept the conversation going, but she flipped through that binder to the right, she had facts and figures and information in front of her and knew what it was kind of amazing.
That's worth an enormous amount. I mean, it really is. And, at the end of the day, maybe we could all do with a little more schmaltz because, we all gotta warm our hearts a little bit. We got all to kind of warm our hearts up after the last few years, and maybe a little hot schmaltz is just the way to do it.
Yeah. All right. So Dave.
I'm in for. I think a presidential trio is great as long as after Dave we do something as off the beaten path as Escape from New York or Strange Love or something. No, we can't do Strange Love. There's no way.
Well, oh no, that's not. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll think about that third presidential movie.
Putney Swope.
Congratulations on your new president.
Hey, thank you, Sandra.
I think he's your new president too.
Well, maybe she's not.
Maybe she's not American.
An American citizen. Maybe she comes from another country and has a different president. But thank you. Very pleased about this.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do a little shout out also to another thing in the movie I really liked. I loved his daughter. in the movie, and I thought the stuff with her was great, playing the trombone, and that to me, that if that hadn't been there, I think it really would have hurt uh my chances to really like him. She called him on his shit. This actress Shauna Waldron, who I guess was a young girl when she did this, she's still acting, I think, but she just kind of brought him down to earth and was that one sounding board that he had to strike a completely different tone with.
Yeah. He also didn't they didn't cast somebody like too sickly sweet cute in the role.
No, she was like a real person, and reminded me a lot of the daughter in
Are you having microphone problems today?
No, I'm having lighting problems.
Oh, okay.
I have some portable lighting that completely fell apart and trashed my desk. What is it? The Fosse movie. Fosse movie about himself that he directed. He's got a relationship with his daughter in that movie. All that jazz, right? Reminded me a lot of that relationship.
Yeah. Oh, one other moment. A little shout out to Gail Strickland, who plays Martin Sheen's wife in the movie.
Okay.
And there's a moment that she has where, and again, I don't know, Sorkin, the cinematographer, Rob Reiner, the moment where Michael Douglas and Annette Bening dance at the state dinner, and everybody's watching them, and Gail Strickland just puts her hand on her husband's back in this "remember those romantic days" gesture that just in one moment defines their relationship so simply and beautifully.
It's a great cast in this, man.
I love little touches like that.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I could have actually gotten to more involved with Martin Sheen's character and their history. I really could have. I thought that was a fascinating part of the movie, and I could have used a little less narrative political stuff and more it could have been less going on even in the White House, and been more of a character thing for me, maybe, because I'm
just grateful that our relationship survived this.
We're gonna be fine.
I was nervous. I didn't know that we'd make it through this.
Don't make me watch Notting Hill. We'll be good. We'll be all good.
Notting Hill's got some good stuff in it, man.
Okay. I saw it. It's cute. It's adorable. It's adorable. But this is a podcast about movies. So.
And that's not a movie. All right. Okay. There's new comments. Oh, Sandra Smith is Canadian. That's okay. All right. You're off the hook, Sandra, because
well, thank you, Sandra, for your words.
You're off the hook.
Yeah.
For a moment when you said congratulations on your new president, I thought, maybe
she just didn't accept it. No, I took it to mean that she was probably
good. Phew.
From another country.
All right. So everybody watching this, please remember that we are also a podcast now. We're out there on Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite platform is.
Always helpful if you like the show and want to throw a review down or a couple of 5 stars down.
Yeah,
it's very helpful to us, and also helpful if you do that on Apple Podcasts more than any other platform for some reason.
And we will see you next week with Dave, right?
Let's do Dave. Let's do it.
All right. So next week is going to be Dave, and we love you. we love America, and it was a good day.
It's a good day.
All
Yeah.
right.
Feeling good.
Good night, everybody.
Get some rest, buddy.
Good night.
Bye.